Welcome to Ladyland Podcast!
Hey.
I'm the only one who's excited? I'm excited. Hey, man, I know you gotta be excited. Matt, I'm sorry.
Waiting for FlyQuest to win the
not.
split. That's what I'm waiting for. That's it.
You're
right,
not
Matt.
sorry at all.
You're right, Matt. I'm not sorry. I'm sorry. I can't lie to you. But before
You
Before we-
definitely can and have and will again.
we hop into the results from this week and talk about how Cloud9 may or may not actually be going to Worlds, we gotta talk about some Worlds format changes real quick because a small development has happened that has caused a shift in the playing
The
stage.
meta, they announced that they're nerfing everything except Caitlyn and Sivir. They'll have auto one-shots. No,
Oh! Not
no
a Sivir
else will
one-shot.
be able to cast any abilities.
No.
ABC win.
Due to some complications brought on by COVID, the Vietnamese teams will not be attending Worlds. So we're out 2 more teams. What's going to happen is they're moving LCK up to their 3rd seed up to groups, and then they're gonna make the play-in stage 2 groups of 5, single round robin. And then you play for spot. Then you just play out for the spots. I don't remember exactly what it is. I think it's the first place in each group goes, and the next 2 all play for.
The next 3.
The next 3 all play best of 5s for the last 2 spots.
Yep. And the 5th place team is eliminated.
Now, I take issue with Korea getting a direct spot in a Pool 2 when NA doesn't even have a Pool 2 seed. LPL has 2 Pool 2 seeds, by the way. That's crazy.
Pool 1.
If anything...
I'd have to look.
Huh?
I'd have to look through the pools a bit more closely.
I mean, that's the pools. If anything, what should have happened is NA's Pool 3 seed got brought up, and NA gets the 3rd seed or something, or LCK gets this. I'd feel better about that than LCK just not having to play through play-ins, because I don't feel like they've really proved that they don't need to play through play-ins yet.
Really?
Mind you, I don't think the other replacement, which was PCS, it's the Southeast Asia region entrance.
How did they decide it was the LCK? Like, did they just like fucking ball out of a hat?
It's an aggregate of the last 4 international performances. So, like, however far you finish gets to so many points, and then whoever has the most points.
Understood. Well, if they got if the LCK won the equation, then I guess they did prove it, right?
I don't agree with the equation. But I digress. Because we got something more important to talk about, which is the Mortals cutting, like, what is it, 4 people from the roster this week?
Yeah.
So...
Which 4?
I'm opening it up right now. They dropped, they dropped 4 players and a coach. Ica, Soaz, Altec, Gate, and Adrian Picard, who was their coach. That is quite predictable. In fact, I think we said that was going to happen. Did we not?
We said it was likely. We definitely
We're
said it was likely, by the way.
We're pretty.
What?
I'm pretty sure Ico was going to go regardless. Soaz. I think actually no. Soaz takes a lot of money. I think Altec probably could have stayed. I don't think I really have that much of an issue with him.
Well, this is the team with Apollo and Hakuo, right?
Yes, this is the team with Apollo.
So why would you hold on to Apollo and Altec? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. They don't seem to be that different in play style, and they have never seemed to perform so drastically differently that I think it should make a difference between which one you go for. So, I think Apollo and Hakuo have just been a duo for so long that there's no reason to not just run them. Every time I see them get split up, I'm just sitting here like, what? Why would you do this? Every team tries this, and they always fail. I don't get it. Like, come on. So
It'll be a shame the day the two part ways just on their own terms.
that would be. I think it would happen when one of them retires. Because,
That's true.
they're such a stable bot lane. They're pretty good role players. I don't know if they'll be contending for like world spots, but it's hard to really say that they're a bad duo. They're always come up and give some performance. Who else is left on their team? Immortals. So they're left with Xmithy, Apollo, and Hakuo, basically. Pretty sure Zabotine got dropped. Is this spring? This is spring.
Zabotine got dropped like in the near the beginning of the split, I think.
Yeah, I was looking at their spring roster. Oh god, this is a long ass roster.
I think only the jungler survived from the second team, so Potluck is still there.
Potluck's still there, Alorum's still there, Insanity is still there, Xmithy's still there. So, like, they have a team they can field that I don't think would be the worst team in the world, but I don't know if it's going to perform into playoffs in NA. Like, look at how awful the 100 Thieves and Dignitas were in playoffs. Like, honestly, that reason alone is why I think the double elimination bracket is kind of pointless. Not the double elimination, but the 8-team bracket is kind of pointless because they just died. They put up 0 resistance to both the teams that played them, and it wasn't even close. So I don't think Immortal would perform better than that next split. You say something, Matt?
I said yeah because I agreed to you or with you.
I'm a little bit on the Insanity hype right now. I hope he does good next split, because there's been like glimmers where it's like, oh man, it looks like he's gonna do it, and then it just never happened. Like he'd either fumble a play just a little bit, or might go a little bit too hard, like trying to start a base race with only himself in the enemy base. Like, but those are also some of the plays that I'm just like, all right, well, there's a bit of promise that you managed to get it to this point, that it came down to like, oh, this one play needed to work against a couple of teams within the LCS.
So I'm trying to think about what I would be looking for right now, because I don't feel like Alorum is bad, and his personality, like on air, has been very good, and I think he's been a good addition to a lot of like the shows he's been on, and I feel like they could try to leverage that as a brand, and hopefully go through Alorum in that respect, but that would also require Alorum to start performing a lot better, because I don't think he's bad, he has to be able to contend against Broken Blade, Impact, Solo, like, and even Licorice, because like these are some pretty good top laners in this league, and if you can't take them on, you're not going to Worlds. Just ask Licorice. I'm sorry.
I'm not mad about it. I'm just confused because you listed Licorice as one of the good ones, and then you.
Right, and he's not even going to Worlds.
True, he's not.
So, I also feel like there's a bit of a deficit in the jungle for this team. Like, even though Xmithy's really good, I think Xmithy's more of an enabler than a playmaker, per se. So, this team needs some killer instinct, but they have a bunch of role players at the moment. And when you have a bunch of role players, you either need to win through pure macro, or you just kind of roll over.
Yeah. It needs to be like really, really solid, like foundational stuff, and just like playing not a really risky game, not a really insane mechanical game, but just like a really solid baseline game and capitalizing off the mistakes of your opponent's own. But that's difficult to do when you have teams that are extremely good and don't make a lot of mistakes or know how to bounce back. It becomes really difficult for teams who are made of those like role players to thrive.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, Matt, I can put off your pain no longer.
Can you put it off until I'm done drinking?
I'll give you some time while I take off my jacket.
Again, it's backwards for me.
I can't help you.
You're also half of it is cut off at the bottom. I don't.
No sneaky, no worlds.
I mean, I'm not gonna fight you on that one, brother. I'm just gonna say true. Bring back sneaky. No.
All right, we can talk about that when we get to the goodbye segment. But we gotta get into it. TSM's going to Worlds. Oh, it's been too long. Too long.
Maybe C9 is.
You know.
For a while, I didn't think they were, and now I'm like, maybe. I don't know, actually. I don't know how this new stuff works.
Yo, Matt, can you turn the gain down on your mic a little?
Yeah. Is it fuck still?
Yeah, I think it's better.
Alright, I changed nothing. It was minimum doubt.
Interesting. Your mic seems inconsistent. Okay.
It is.
Oh, God.
Was that loud? Sorry.
So, I actually just rewatched the series before the show, because I wanted to make sure I had some informed takes. But
hit me with them. Hit me with. I want to hear them. I want these informative takes.
So, exactly what I said was going to happen happened. TSM played heavily through their top side, and basically used Broken Blade to create leverage on Licorice, therefore giving pressure to Blabber and allowing Spica to get more get himself ahead a little bit, because I think straight up Spica probably won't beat Blabber without both of his solo lanes helping him, and that's basically what happened. So they got an early lead for topside most of the games, and then they used Bjergsen to transition into mid game and basically dismantled Cloud9. Cloud9 had almost no tools outside of Game 2, where I think the Lilia was pretty strong, but it only kind of worked. They got a couple lucky picks with the Lilia ultimate, which I think is the only reason why they ended up winning that game. If they had either missed those picks or picked a different champion, I think TSM win that game hands down.
Easy? An easy dub?
Easy dub.
Jeez.
My second problem is that Cloud9 do not play Caitlyn and Shen. These are the two best champions in their roles right now. They don't play them, and that is a problem. Now,
only if you're a C9 fan.
Okay, so Licorice has played Shen twice, and he lost both of those games. Sven has 0 Caitlyn games all year. These are the season stats. This is such a large issue for the team that I don't understand why they can't pick up these picks. And TSM has picked up a bunch of new shit. They played fucking Lucian top 3 times, twice. Okay, twice. They never do that kind of shit. They fucking whipped out Jace top and smashed face with it. That's crazy. Oh my,
yeah.
I was not expecting that much performance out of TSM, but we got it anyways. What else? I did see that both teams could convert early game advantages into mid game leads and close out a game. What was the other thing? Yeah, no, that's all of my. Oh! Stop first picking set! For the love of God, stop first picking set! Stop it! It's not that good.
There's some teams who can make it work.
Like
but
who?
Also,
who?
Don't worry, they're coming up in the next bit. Anyhow. What was it? Doublelift finally got his redemption arc on Senna. If you saw Game 4. It only took him 2 splits to learn it, but he did it. It's there.
Senna is quite the hot pick. I think Senna is probably the best AD after Caitlyn right now. I'm kind of coming around to the AD carry Senna, but I still think it's not great. It requires you to harass so much, and I think it's only good into low range options. So you can't pick it into Caitlyn. You have to pick it into like Ezreal or something that can't hit you through minions. And they have to have like a melee support. Otherwise, I feel like you lose a lot of power.
But hey, back to the main point, he learned it.
He did. He did. So Matt, How do you feel? Is he frozen?
I'm not sure.
He looks
Hold
frozen
on.
to me.
Actually, yeah. He does look for.
I
Oh,
was
he's
frozen.
moving now.
My
He is.
can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. My fucking video connector dropped to fucking 0 bars.
Oh yeah, my internet's taking a hit right now too. I can see it.
I don't know why though, but
I don't know. Somebody's doing something stupid. All right, Matt. What is your takeaway from this series? What? How are you feeling about this?
I don't know what I missed.
Haymant
just give me a
said that
TLDR?
Senna, that Double Earth learned Senna. Did you hear my rant about all that crap?
I dropped when you were starting to be like, I'm coming around on AD Senna, and then it froze.
That was it. We just talked about Senna.
Word. I actually agree. I do think AD. I am also coming around on AD Senna. I do think it's actually better than we both gave it credit for, especially when piloted appropriately. I mean, I think the series just kind of came down to TSM playing an extremely solid and consistent game, and C9 just fell apart in the wrong places at the wrong times. Not all the decision making, both in the draft and the game, the best, and that happens. But it's just unfortunate to see if you're me,
So,
not if you're Anthony.
So, like overall, what was your take on this series from Cloud9? What do you think were their big mistakes?
Not playing Caitlyn. I don't know. No, I don't think that's true actually. But fuck, I don't remember much about the specifics of the games. Which was the one they won? Did they didn't get 3?
They won game 2.
Game 2.
Game 2. I forgot they picked Lucian top game 1. It's fucking crazy. I don't know. They just didn't always feel like they didn't always feel like the most active C9 for me, or like they didn't always seem like they had like the most coordination, which is like I think a problem we've all echoed sort of several times over the split. But
I think they don't know what to do when Blabber gets pressured, because that's been everyone's key to beating them. Is they're like, wait a minute, the way they play the game is to get Blabber and Nizzy a lead, but if they can't do that, they don't win. So they just pressure Blabber by pressuring topside instead of trying to fight the mid lane, and it works out. Also, Nizzy was playing like garbage this series. Like, oh my god. On Galio, and I think game 1, he ints like 3 kills early, and I'm just sitting here like, what are you doing? What? You died 3 times for nothing. You fuck up the flash level 1. You get caught out in front of Herald at like level 6, and then he dies again over by Raptors. And like, why are you getting killed? You're supposed to like go to side lanes. You're not supposed to die around mid. Like, come on.
He did look terrible that series. It was not. It was not good at all. I do remember like the level 1 play where, what was it? Spica just like dashed over the wall as Graves at level 1 into a bush surrounded by like several C9 members, and he should have been dead to rights.
Oh yeah.
He should have been dead to rights, but then Nizzy inted and he was gone. Right? That's not the look that you want.
They didn't even 1-for-1 that. That's the worst part. They were handed a free kill and died for it.
yes.
That always hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Not if you're TSM.
No, not
it
if
hurts
you're
if you're TSM and that happens to you. But if the enemy team gives you a free kill, you take that shit. Especially on Lucian top, by the way. Oh my god. Lucian top has got to be a crazy counterpick into set. It's so good into set. Like, he can't approach you, because if he walks up to you, you can just dash back, and now his Q is going to run out before he gets in range to E you. It's almost impossible for him to actually land anything on you. And if he goes for the W, you have dash. It's so good. But I hate range top laners with all of my heart. They need to die. Which is why I killed them on repeat. Over and over and over.
Look forward to him in your solo queue games. Broken Blade has proved their worth.
Only against set, though. I don't think he's that good against too many other things.
No, you pick him into every single thing, no matter what.
Every single thing.
Okay.
Trust me. Trust me.
What else do I got to talk about this game? Oh, Vulcan looked really good. Vulcan looked like he was trying his damnedest to keep everyone alive and like put the ship back together as it's falling apart. But it's just not enough when you give him Tom Kench and all these other utility supports. Like, what are you gonna do? You just you can't really. You don't got a lot to take control of there. You can save people as many times as you want, and you can make an impact with it. In fact, in game 2, it was quite impactful, all the times that he saved people at like 2 HP. But a lot of the other times, TSM were just killing them through Tom Kench, and it's like, well, is this really worth it? Why aren't we putting him on something more proactive that he can make plays on, considering he is the best player on your team right now? Like, you spent $1.5 million getting him. What the hell?
I don't know. It feels like his champion pool started to turn up a little bit limited in some regards. Like, yes, he still has a Tom Kench. I still don't like his Bard.
I think it was
but we
Ban.
don't see it. You think it was pick ban that actually screwed him over?
Yeah, I think
I
they're
also
not
don't think
giving him good picks. I think they're just kind of hoping that they can have their other carries carry instead of enabling their support to set people up. They just have their support play backburner.
I mean, yes, but I don't think I've even seen like a Morgana out, which is something that even like many supports across the league have pulled out at one point. I think Ignar hasn't done it, and I definitely think like who
He does not have a
Trix
Morgana
did
game
it
this season. Oh no, he does actually. He has
for
one.
Vulcan.
Yeah, Vulcan has one Morgana game this season.
Exactly one. Wow.
He's
I
mostly
can't even
played
remember.
Yuumi and Thresh. But I think
Please not.
Yuumi has become exposed as a hot garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only thing they ever fucking play it with is Ezreal.
Ezreal.
My
Well,
God,
it
they
is,
played
to be fair, it is like exceptionally good with Ezreal.
It's
Like,
really good with Ezreal, but like every time I saw them played in that FlyQuest series, they're just getting bodied, and I'm like, what's the point of this? Why?
If it wasn't the lane itself, they're just getting bodied at the other side of the map still. And then what do you have to carry then when you hit your 2-item spike and the top side's just burning? Or even worse, what do you have to carry when all of a sudden your bot side's burning because you're just that easy to gank repeatedly again and again?
And the other part about this series was that Bjergsen and BB, they all looked so good. They looked like they were just having the time of their lives, playing out their fantasies of dominating everyone in the game because they played so well. Bjergsen like full stacked his Magi's in 2 games. That's not supposed to ever happen, but it did. Bjergsen's Twisted Fate is so good. You saw that one play in game 1 where Niski tries to TP her back in behind for a flank, but Bjergsen uses his ultimate on TF to get to the flank and then stun him right as he spawns because the TF teleport resolves faster than normal teleport. It was such a good heads up play, and then it basically kills Niski and ends the game. Oh.
Yeah, his TF is very scary right now. He has become the global mastermind.
It's pretty good.
I also loved watching when Golden Guardians tried to ban him out, and I'm just like, oh good, you burned 6 bans on him. We pushed him onto Zillion. Wait, what?
Yep.
We pushed Bjergsen onto Zillion. Oh my god. I'm looking forward to like TSM Zillion. That's the world skin I want to see.
That's the world skin you want to see.
Are you predicting DSM win worlds this split?
Maybe!
You're calling it pretty far in advance, pal.
Alright. Before we talk about the TL versus FlyQuest series, let's just go over our picks from this week. I went 2 for 2. I forgot to change the color, but I actually got the FlyQuest series perfectly right. Matt got a big old fat 0 on his predictions. Haymont got the FlyQuest series right because Haymont has no faith in TSM. But for some
No.
reason, you think Cloud9 is going to 3-0 TSM. What's wrong with you?
A lot of credit now. It's like they could definitely bounce back and become that team that's meshes together and can come head to head in skirmishes, but it's just it wasn't them. They weren't there.
No, it was not. Alright,
That
let's go ahead and talk about this FlyQuest versus Team Liquid series and why the fuck do we think Team Liquid is so overrated?
Why do we think that, Anthony?
That's because Team Liquid was very overrated.
A bold claim.
A bold claim.
I think that Impact hasn't shown up with this playoffs buff that we normally expect from him every series, like every split. And we're like, oh man, he's gonna pop off. He's gonna show up, and all we've been seeing is Mordekaiser. Just Mordekaiser, another Mordekaiser, another Mordekaiser. He did pull out an Ornn, but it just hasn't been the same impact that we've expected. Like last split, like Impact's Aatrox, or the last time they went to Worlds, like Impact's Aatrox was a thing to see. It was a thing of beauty. He could single carry a game, and now he's just been relegated to Mordekaiser duty, and it's a little bit sad to see. They're innovating in other spots.
They put him on Shen, Mord, Ornn.
Okay.
And I don't think Mordekaiser is a bad pick, because Mordekaiser does well into both Ornn and Shen. And he's very good at picking a target and taking them out of the team fight. So you can just pick the key man on the other team, especially if you have a lead, and then just dismantle them. I think that their problem is, honestly, in the mid lane. Jensen has not really been, like, showing up at all. He just feels like he's dragging the team down, and people were making fun of him at the end of the last game for being a KDA player.
LOL.
I mean, what was it? His Akali was actually pretty good. I did like seeing it. And I don't really know. The other games where they brought out like the Kog'Maw in Game 4, which was supposed to like... the Kog'Maw, I think it was in Game 5 actually that they pulled it out. It's supposed to be great, it's supposed to pop off, and then it just got crushed from FlyQuest. It was Game 3?
Yeah, it was Game 3, and TL won that game.
Game 3 TL won? No, I'm pretty sure Game...
Oh, no, you're right, I'm sorry.
TL won.
I was looking at the loss wrong. They lost that game, you're right.
Yeah, they won like Games 2 and 4, I'm trying to remember the picks for them.
Yes.
But it was like... it was an interesting series. It was very competitive. It was back and forth, and each team didn't go for like, oh, we're just gonna go for the same draft over and over again. It's Broxa brought out the Hecarim, which I actually was not.
Hang on. FlyQuest played a 0 mid for 3 games in a row. What are you talking about? They basically played the same comp over and over again. The Kha'Zix pull out was kind of spicy, but
not to great effect.
Well, you're playing Kha'Zix into Mordekaiser and Volibear. Like, what are you gonna do?
It's a good question.
Go bot lane and hope that the top side can take care of it.
Go bot lane and hope that Lux doesn't CC you and nuke your ass.
True.
Core JJ brought out his traditional blitz crank in Game 1. And Ignar still looks...
I don't understand why they pulled out the Kog'Maw. The Kog'Maw looks like it's such a bad idea. They tried to like outrange Caitlyn with Kog'Maw, but it didn't work because their range is Jhin and Kog'Maw, but they don't have 3 engagers on there because their support is Zyra, their jungle is Lee Sin, and their top laner is Mordekaiser. 2 of those champions are team fights and split pushers, and one of them's a pick comp. But you don't have any lockdown for the picks. You can't run a Lee Sin only pick comp. That doesn't work.
Why not? Just get good ult.
I'll get right on that.
If you have perfect Lee Sin ults every time, easy.
Just hit 5 people, forehead.
Just frame
hit
perfect
5
your
people.
kick every time.
Just hit
Don't be
5
bad.
people. Heck yeah. I feel like it was very close. I will say that this was a very close series, and a lot of the games were like on a razor's edge of going either way. But I definitely think that TL is showing that they can't play nearly as well as a lot of other teams, especially nearly as consistently as other teams. Because it seems to me like they have lost their identity. They were normally this play for late, standard team fight or team comps, but now they're not doing that. They're not going for that anymore. They're trying to do some other kind of weird shit. A couple of their comps are heavy mid game comps, and some of them, like normally you don't want to put an assassin in a late game scaling comp. Normally you want to control mage, but for some reason we're running Akali. Why are we running Akali? Akali's garbage.
Oh, you haven't seen it dominate in other regions.
But it's still garbage. Its laning is awful. And it does, and we're not in those other regions, Haymont. We're in North of fucking America.
Oh yeah. So you can expect it and it comes out at Worlds.
Look. There's a reason why I would tell every new player to play Garen top lane. Because it's so brain dead and so powerful and so easy that you can't make a mistake that isn't just a bad move. Like, there aren't mechanical errors you can make on Garen. It's like, oh, I got CC'd. Well, in like a second, my Q's up and I get to run away. Damn. Like...
Dang.
This is why you don't play Akali in North America, because the other guy plays fucking Azir and kills you.
NA Akali, Anthony? Is that the call? NA
That's
Akali?
the new meme!
And fucking A Akali.
I hate Akali. She's so bad, and I hope to never see her again.
It's gonna appear. Okay.
They picked Akali and fucking Kog'Maw mid, and Jhin 80 care. Who's picking Jhin right now? Who?
Me?
Fucking who?
Me?
Just so you know, Turtle popped off with it in great effect in Game 5 in that same series, in which they'd also... By the way,
it's good.
The Game 5 was a... You can still do that. Oh, man. You got hit with a little bit of damage. Let me tell you about this little W that I got. This little root that I got. Alright?
Turtle went 5-0-6, but his team died once the entire game.
Oh, yeah. Do you know even the crazier part about that game?
What?
They let TL get the first 2 Drakes, and then we're just going to stack the 4 Infernals. We probably don't need to. We're going to.
I don't think it's a bad thing to drop 1 or 2 Drakes early to get a 10k gold lead, and then take all the Drakes. That seems like a good strategy, because now I get 4 Infernal Drakes. Damn, I wish I could have that every game.
Yeah.
What do you get? You get an Infernal... I'm sorry, you get an Air and a Mountain.
Yep.
Congratulations. You have gained nothing on your team comp because you have an Ornn who isn't going to come online for another, until 35 minutes. That's when Ornn's fully online. Ornn had to build a fucking QSS and a Locket. Why does Ornn have a QSS and a Locket?
To escape the scary Mordekaiser, because that Mord was scary.
He got ulted by Mord after he pulled his ult in one fight, and then QSS to get out of it, but he didn't reel to do the knockback.
That's brutal.
It's like, what's the point? What's the point if you're not gonna do it? You're better off putting Mord in a box and letting him beat you.
Oh,
man.
man.
You're just talking about your own fantasies, bro. Yikes.
Yeah. Sorry, what?
Yeah, you black out for a second. You went to the shadow realm mentally. I
think Jensen is just playing so poorly and so scared all the time. We're seeing we're seeing the Jensen that couldn't pop his Zhonya's. That's what's happening right now. And I think it's going to happen more. And I don't think it's going to stop. If they somehow beat TSM, I get the feeling they'll probably just get 3-0'd by FlyQuest because Jensen can't hold it together. Because Jensen seems to have massive nerve issues. Especially when he gets towards the finals. How do you guys think that TL is shaping up after this? Do you think they're okay, or are they gonna take this one on the chin, or are they gonna start falling apart like Cloud9 did?
I think they're okay.
they're gonna. Oh, you got it, Monty. You go.
Oh, here you go. You go.
No. I was not being an asshole. I was really telling you to go.
Okay. I think they've got it. I think that they've managed to persevere through the entirety of the split and, make that comeback at the end of it. Or at least sneak into the number one seed spot without
Hang
us
on.
really recognizing it.
Wait. What do you mean sneak? Everyone's well aware that they are a decent team. They finished first place, being very stable during the regular season. But now that we've hit playoffs, some cracks are starting to show. While other teams seem to be like mending all of their problems and coming together.
Okay, if you're putting it in that light, that's a fair point. But I don't think that they're just going to crack and fall apart all of a sudden. Hopefully they don't
What do you
wind
mean all
up
of a sudden?
where they start playing like individual players instead of like a team, which is
Kind of what happened
so
with C9.
yes. So I don't think that's going to happen to them this late into split. I think they can pull something together and put up a good fight against TSM. I think they can definitely give it a good one, especially if they can pick a standard late game team fighting comp and can stick with it. They did pull out some curious picks like the Kog'Maw, which is supposed to be good into the Azir because late game you're supposed to just be able to poke at everything from range, right? It doesn't matter whether it's a Caitlyn, doesn't matter whether it's Azir, doesn't matter whether it's Jhin. But this is not their normal wheelhouse picks that they would probably take in a series. I think they wanted to take some risks and bring out something a little bit different to put against FlyQuest. Maybe because they wanted to put FlyQuest in a little bit of an awkward position, or because they were like, oh, maybe we can't beat FlyQuest in our standard composition, and just want to go toe to toe with them in those mid game skirmishes. But if they go revert back to their same style, I think they can give TSM a good fight. That's all.
Matt,
Any follow?
what do you think?
What do I? Well, there's your first mistake. I've said it again. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I don't think ever under any circumstance. But I don't think that the fall apart's going to be as extreme, right?
I mean, I would hope not. They still have to go to Worlds.
Yeah, and C9's felt pretty abrupt, right? It really felt, for me anyway, like there was like a week where they were just on it, and then all of a sudden it was just kind of free falling a little bit. But I don't know, right? Like I don't think TL's gonna beat TSM, and while I think they're still a solid team, I don't know that this is their sort of postseason to win, or at least their NA postseason to win. I do hope they can sort of find their stride again. I agree with basically everything you said about Jensen, Anthony. But yeah, I don't, you know.
I hope they don't completely fall apart after this, because I want them to do well at Worlds. I want NA to put 3 people into quarterfinals at Worlds, because I think that all 3 of these
So 3 of the
teams...
4 teams?
Sure.
Well, it's quarter. No, that's 4, idiot. Anyway,
I mean, what? 3 teams in quarterfinals? They're all in different groups.
Easy.
One's in pools.
Huh?
It's the easiest plan of my life.
No.
One's in pools.
No. You can't be in the same group as someone else from your region.
Yeah.
It actually severely limits the options that there are for groupings. So it's actually it's very easy to predict who's going where, and statistically, the second team actually has a better outcome in their group than a first place team. So you actually want to be the second team going to Worlds. They get the best
Do you think
groups.
That's bad?
Partially, but I don't think there's any team that I think there's 2 things. One, if you can't beat all of the teams in your group at Worlds, you're not going to win the tournament anyways. So I don't think it matters what position you are, but in a progression sense of seeing how far you can get, you definitely would want to be there. Like if you're trying, you could, in theory, get to semis if you get a second seed. You're the first place team bums out. You end up in first, and then you get to play the second seed from another group, which might be like the third or fourth seed from EU or LPL. Like that would be where we're heading, and that makes life a lot easier. Like it's like that one time that H2K got to semis off of beating ANX, because that was an achievement, right, guys?
Yes.
Probably will take that one with him to the grave as an achievement, because nobody can legitimately take it away from him, but everybody can subconsciously take it away from him.
Yep.
That H2K team got so fucking lucky. I'm so mad they didn't actually have to play a real team. Okay. Let's start talking about Cloud9 and what they need to do during this offseason. Now, before we talk about what they need to do during the offseason, I do feel like I should note that earlier in the week, there was a rumor going around that Cloud9 might actually get defaulted into Worlds. And when I heard that, I was just like, so Vietnam is dropping 2 spots, right?
Okay, so it's with the Vietnam thing?
Yeah, with the Vietnam thing. So what the rumor was that LCK and NA were going to get a 4th seed into Worlds. That would take both the Vietnam spots. And I'm just kind of sitting here like, can we not? Because that just kind of makes this entire game that TSM and Cloud9 played real dumb.
Well, I hope it happens. No,
no, I don't think it's going to happen after the announcement this week.
Me neither.
I don't know. But
they actually said they're going to share the prize pool with Vietnam as if they had showed up, because I think half the prize pool is shared amongst all the teams equally, and then the other half is prize money.
That's just fun. That's just
that's
polite.
fair.
That's fine. That's nice.
I see no problem.
I respect it. I respect that. I respect that. That's a kind play, especially because it doesn't seem like it's like a willing choice as much. It's like a yikes. You know, everything is bad.
It's like it's nobody's fault. But it's
so why punish him, you know?
And that's part of the reason why they didn't want to bring in other teams, because then they would have had to split the half share 28 ways instead of 26 ways, I think. So yeah, but we're here to talk about Cloud9 and what they need to do in the offseason. Matt, it's your team. What do you want them to do? Where do they need to improve themselves?
Bro, I don't even know. I think they need to spend some serious time practicing what to do when Blabber gets right, or how to handle well, I don't know, because it really did feel like when C9 were losing, it would just seem like a miscommunication between one or two of the, like one person or two people on the team, and it would seem like that they just weren't playing together as a cohesive unit very and so the hope would be that they change that behavior.
So I'm looking at all the contracts, and they all end on the same date, November 15th, 2022. Mm-hmm. So that means they have 2 more seasons with all of these players. So I'm not too sure. Because I can't just sit here and say, oh, Nizzy's contract's going up. I think Nizzy's probably going to de-axe, and they'll probably look for a new mid laner, or
it's a while away. So they would have to trade or sell or something.
Yeah, so they'd have to either buy out or do an amicable split.
There's no N in that word.
Amicable?
It's amicable.
Amicable. Because, looking at the academy, they have Fudge in the top lane, Inori in the jungle, Palafox in the mid lane, King and Tomo on AD carry, and Diamond as a support. I think Diamond might be the only player who can come up, but Vulcan still looks really good, so I don't think you would really want to. Palafox looks like he could make the move to one of the lower teams, but looking at this Cloud9 roster, I'm not thinking this team might not make playoffs next year. I think this team would easily make playoffs next year. I don't feel like it's even going to be
unless everybody else powered up absurdly hard.
Yeah. Unless fucking SKT walks the fuck in the door in the LCS somehow, and I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry, Cloud9. It looks like you got bumped out because you were at the bottom of the barrel. But Like they don't seem to have any in-house upgrades, and I feel like the only place they can upgrade is in the jungle, meaning they require an import. But Nisky and Sven are both taking up their import slots. So if they're gonna bring in an import, they're gonna have to drop somebody, and I think that somebody would be Nisky.
What if they traded back for Sven? Sven Skaren, that is. What if they got Dennis back? What if they got Media?
Dennis isn't coming back.
What if they got Media?
Here's the thing. I don't think Dennis goes to any team but TSM.
I mean, wait, are you...
Yeah.
You mean he stays too, though, right? Not like he's guaranteed TSM. You mean
no.
Stays
I don't think
or goes to TSM.
From the current perspective, I don't think TSM changes the roster next year at all. But looking at Sven Skaren's performance with his team, I do not think he's going. And looking at Cloud9's performance, I don't think he's going to go to Cloud9. I don't think he'll go to a team that isn't FlyQuest, TL, or TSM at the moment, because those are the 3 teams going to Worlds, and Cloud9 looks like they're about to take a major low point in the org's career.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Do we bring back High?
No, probably not. Does he even play the game anymore?
He does.
Did you see the showcase match?
Yeah, I did see the showcase match.
Did you know that Balls was a
LCS
secret Rumble top in Challenger?
Was he really?
Yes. He was like top 4 Challenger on Rumble only.
That's real. I mean, A, of course it's Rumble only, it's Balls. B, very funny.
And everybody was like, "Oh, Balls is gonna be garbage," and Darius is gonna smack him around, and Darius is just like, "I have been playing this game for the last 3 weeks. Balls is in Challenger. I'm in D3."
Also, they brought back the old school tactics of let's just run down Dyrus.
What else are you supposed to do?
That's how you play the game, Haymont. That's not even a Dyrus thing anymore.
I mean, it is though.
No, they were calling
camp. Anthony, you're telling me if you get D3, you're jungling against Dyrus top, you're not camping him. You're not letting him play the game.
Did you not hear the comms from that clip when they first level 1 dove him? They were like, "Oh, it's Dyrus! Get him!
Easy call, dude."
All right.
So I think we all kind of agree that there's not much you can really do for this team. It's a lot of
I think it's just in-house
strife.
practice. Yeah, it's like just working on the decision making, the cohesion, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
What do you think, Haymont?
As a question mark, I know that they've had Licorice has been pretty consistent throughout the split. I don't think he's had like a game where you can point it out and be like, "Oh, Licorice is doing very badly." So do you instead pivot
point
your
out
play
to this
style?
series?
Probably this series, yeah. But anyhow, is there a time where you go like, "Oh, Nisky's just playing pretty badly. Maybe we instead pivot our style from being focused on this mid jungle to top jungle over this."
Here's the thing: is TSM, well, as much as they played through top lane, they used top lane to generate early game leads and pressure. They didn't really play through their top lane. They used their top lane in the early game and then transitioned to holding AD carry in mid lane. That's where they kind of held their power. That's why they've been going for Senna and Caitlyn and Ashe, because they either provide late game utility always, or they do late game damage, or both. So that's kind of, I feel like that's a little bit of the meta right now. I think you can still play the raw jungle mid lane, going everywhere, doing everything strategy, but I don't think C9 can actually pull that strategy off like they've been trying to. And I think after Spring Split, everyone upgraded a lot more than Cloud9 did, and that caused them to be frustrated and decline instead of continuing to improve. Because at the beginning of the split, they looked pretty good. But at the end of the split, it looked like they couldn't do anything. And that is why FlyQuest and TSM decided not to scrim C9.
Ouch, but fair. Sometimes honesty hurts, you know? Sometimes the way the world is just doesn't align with the way you want the world to be.
You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for Reaper to just whip out some random ass player and be like, haha! From the fucking academy lineup, and they're just a god, because that just seems to be what Reaper does sometimes. I don't get
sometimes,
it.
yeah.
We can't lie. We can't lie. He does often have the heat out of nowhere.
But when you pull the heat out of nowhere, it's really hard to find when you need it most.
True.
All right, what's our next topic? We get to talk about our upcoming matchups, the previews. Let's get into what we pick.
Any previews in
Let's go look at our picks for next week. But boom, we got me and Matt calling it for TSM to win out this weekend, and Haymant saying FlyQuest is gonna go. So we're gonna start off with Haymant. I want you to go through from the TL match to the FlyQuest match. Why do you think that your picks are right, and your future pick?
And then after that, I want you to tell me all of the ways you know you're wrong about that. No.
Dude, that's my specialty. I do that.
That's why I asked you to bring it out.
All right. So first of all,
that's why I asked you to bring it out. Anyway.
To give it up for the TSM versus TL matchup, I think that TSM's been playing out of their mind recently. You saw how they dominated, Golden Guardians in those last 3 games in that series. You saw how they were able to play through top lane against C9 and be able to put C9 in one of the formerly best skirmishing teams in North America on the back foot in a massive way, right? So I hands down think that they could probably do the same thing to Impact. They could probably do the same thing to Broxa. And with a weak topside like that, they could just run the same strat back, pressure that weak topside, and see if you can get the dubs from it. Give Broken Blade that Lucian again. Hey, I like to see it.
Yeah, I absolutely love to see it.
I think Lucian definitely makes set a bait, but let's move on to Matt. Why do you think TSM is going to win out in 2-3-2 series?
Well, gonna start with TSM TL here, right? Gonna start at the beginning and end at the end like a person who's afraid of, I don't know, inversion. But I think TSM TL is going to be fairly tight, just because even though TSM has been playing well and TL has been on a little bit of a downturn, I don't think TSM has played like so nuts, right? Like so above the board that I think they're going to crush TL 3-0 or even 3-1. I think it just has a chance to be a really tight series that TSM just has like a moderate edge. In terms of FlyQuest, I do think FlyQuest has been playing really, really well, which is why I think that one's even more likely to be 3-2. And I have TSM winning it just because even though Fly has been playing out of their mind, TSM just seems better. The way they play, what they're able to do, what they prioritize, it seems sort of all around more consistent and just better.
All right.
What about you, Ant?
I think TSM is going to beat Team Liquid 3-1 because to me it looks like Team Liquid are about to start a pretty hard slump and a pretty big slide. This would be their moment that they'd have to pull it out and really come back together as a team. And I think for NA as a whole, it would be better if TL were to come back up and probably win these next 2 series and be victorious in this split. And it would just give us such a better... I think it would be a better skill for the teams at Worlds, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think TSM have a working winning formula that they're going to continue to pull out. I think, especially on Cloud9, they knew exactly how to beat them, and I don't think that beating TL will be quite as hard as beating Cloud9 was. I think it will actually be easier because Cloud9, I think, had better individual players. I think their bot lane was better, but I don't have a lot of faith in Tactical being able to carry TL as hard as he did that game through all 5 of these possible games that they could have. And then against FlyQuest, I think it's going to be really, really, really close. I think this will probably be one of the closest series we've ever seen in a final ever. I really am just looking to enjoy this matchup because, to be honest, I'd rather get second because it's a better spot to be in. But A win for TSM is always fun, but I just like TSM in finals all the time. That's just how I like to see things. I like roll to roll. I feel like it's pretty close. I think Santorin is definitely better for FlyQuest, but I think Bjergsen's been playing so much better than every other mid lane in the entire playoffs. I think TSM's bot lane has figured out how to play stable and play safe and be able to be a threat in the late game. And I feel like Broken Blade is just so good. He's just so good. And he makes such good clutch plays all the time, and I'm looking forward to see him try to pull it out over FlyQuest. I won't be surprised if FlyQuest end up winning this matchup 3-2, but I definitely think TSM is gonna take us on home. I can't do my boys dirty like that.
In that case, I got to give it to my boys FlyQuest. I hands down think that they've just been trying to pull everything that they can and throwing it at teams, but they haven't been throwing it at and like, oh, this is a little sloppy splat against the wall. They've been throwing it precisely, dog. They've been throwing these plays, they've been running them through teams, and sometimes other teams just don't know how to react. I think that's what happened to C9 in their series against FlyQuest. I think that's what happened to TL in their series against FlyQuest. Every once in a while, they just manage to take a pick that you just don't expect. Right?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. And also, the one thing that I believe might be TL's weakness in their series against TSM is not a weakness for FlyQuest. They do know how to play when their top laner is put behind by a very large margin. They've demonstrated it several times. Solo has taken L's while playing Shen. FlyQuest has
you're
still
right.
managed to
FlyQuest
figure
will
out.
pick Shen. It's only TSM and FlyQuest picking Shen right now, and it pisses me off. God damn.
Man, but I'm absolutely certain that even if Solo does get put behind, his team can figure out a way to actually cater to that top side, stem that bleeding, and get a strat together where they can just run it. Santorin, smart pilot. Ignar has been popping off on Thresh. I think that's going to be a highly contested pick between the two supports in the bot lane. And yeah, I think that FlyQuest just are ready to take it at TSM, or whichever team does happen to appear in that final series.
I think we're in for some more really good League of Legends. It was some really good League of Legends this weekend, and I'm looking forward to next week. Just as a whole, every matchup, every storyline. There's so much like good melodrama here. I feel like I'm watching the fucking an anime or some shit with all of this coming. Oh, it's so good. I'm looking forward to it. I've never had so much fun in playoffs for like a long time. Oh,
because you lost a lot the last couple of years.
Shut up, bite me.
I mean, honestly, I'm also extremely excited, right? Like these, even though C9's not in it, right? Both these matches seem like they're going to be extremely good matches. FlyQuest TSM, I think, will be a dope match. It'd be really fun storyline wise for like Turtle against TSM in the finals, right? That'd be lit. But I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun.
I'm looking at the thread for the TL FlyQuest game, and one of the comments is, first it was FlyQuest, then it was TreeQuest, then it was BookQuest, then it was SeaQuest, and now it's Conquest.
That's fun.
Alright. Matt, I think I'm out of topics.
Buddy, you wanna take us on home?
Yeah, I think that'll do it for this week on the Legendary League of Legends podcast. You can catch us next week at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Nizzy2K11. Catch the VODs on the YouTube channel Legendary Podcast. You can catch the audio podcast version on anchor.fm/LLoLP or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, no sneaky, no worlds.
No sneaky, no worlds.
Rip!